Hello and welcome to this tutorial. So in this tutorial, we'll be talking about Python data structure called strings. Now, if you are into programming from a while, you might be aware that how important strings are whenever you have to deal with the programming scenarios and situations, and you have to use this particular data structure to store your data and apply some operations on. So I thought that why don't I go ahead and design a crash course for you, and this is for all the beginners who want to get their hands dirty with Python and want to excel their career with Python. So this course is going to be very helpful for you because I've been doing coding since 3 to 4 years, and I know that how important it is for a beginner to understand the basics and have a grasp first. So I know all the nitty gritties of that process, so I've just wanted to create a course to help you around with this, and to get your learning experience a bit exciting. So uh, with this said, we'll be talking about this data structure called strings, and mind you, during this course I'll be making some other videos as well related to lists, related to dictionaries, tuples, sets, and I'll be telling you the basic to intermediate use of those data structures. And if you want to go with the Python engineering side, this will be very helpful. So this crash course is really designed for the beginners to intermediate level, and if you're among those, you're more than welcome to watch my videos and get to learn something. So with this said, I've designed these points for you. We'll be talking about these one by one. So first of all, I'll be discussing how to declare a string in Python, single line and multi-line strings. In testing operation, we'll be talking about, we'll also be talking about slicing operations, string formations, string dot format. And formation is something that we use in our coding practices whenever we have to create a placeholder for some value and later assign some value to that placeholder. So stick to it, you'll get to know eventually a little more better. String characters we'll be talking about, and there are some other common string methods which are very handy, very useful whenever you have to deal with the strings. Mind you, I tell you again that this is very important type of any programming language. So if you have a good grasp on strings, you will eventually be very good at programming and logic building in general. So we'll be talking about capitalize, starts with, and z, find, index is lower, is upper, join, replace, strip, and split. And mind you, these are the operations, these are the methods which I extracted and are the ones that are most extensively used during programming. There are also other ones which are not that much important when it comes to when it boils down to actually using that in your code, but these are the ones that we rigorously use in our programming practices. So with this said, let's go ahead and write some code. So here I'm going to go ahead and create a file name, strings.py. All right, so we first start with declaring a string. So I can declare in any container. For example, I say that I'm gonna say that s is equals to some string. So this is a string in Python. What we did actually, we just went ahead and declared a string in single quotes. We can also declare something like s1 is equals to in double quotes. Both of these are okay. And we can also declare like s2 is equals to triple quotes, and this is actually for multi-line strings. For example, if we have to write a entire length 3 to 4 to 7 or however number of lines comment, you can go ahead and declare a string this way. For example, this is first line of a string, this is second, this is third. So let's go ahead and check out that whether our code works or not. So if I'm going to print s first string, first string, and this is going to be my s, which is single quoted. Let me write a comment for you. Single line string, print second string, which is actually a double line, double quoted, let's just say it. Double quoted, and we have third string, which is triple quoted. Right, let's go ahead and run. So in Python, how we run our code is we simply write Python and the name of that file. strings.py. So as you can see, first string was some string, second string was also some string, and third string was, this is the first line, this is the second line, this is the third line. So this is how we declared our string. So this was actually string declaration part, right? Let me just go ahead and strings.py. Okay, so for now I'm going to remove all these two strings and I have to apply my operations on that. So since we know that how to declare a string, now let's go ahead and talk more about strings. So let me just open my uh, strings.yaml file so I can have a, okay. So the second step that we have is indexing. Now indexing is also very important programming practice, and how we index in Python strings is we just go ahead and do something like this. So we have s is equals to some string. So if I'm to check what is at 0th index of the string, all I have to do is I can simply do it something like this, s at 0, and this is going to return first index. Similarly, I can say something like s at -1, and negative means the reverse index is, for example, starting at the end of the string, right? So if I'm to run this code, let's see what we get. So this is the 0th index, which was at the 0th position, and this was something at the last position. So that's how we index in Python. For example, if I have to check any other indexes, I can just put in the number and I can check my what's at that particular index, right? All right. So let's talk about slicing now. All right, so let's talk about index slicing operations. So what happens in slicing is basically we grab some part of our index and we can do lots of operations with that. So let me tell you that how we grab some part of index. For example, if I'm to grab 1 till 4th position of our index, 1 grab first till 4th position. Next, so what I have to do is, now the first position in this string is this 0, and if you count second, third, and fourth, so it will grab from 0, from this O till this white space, right? And how we declare in Python is you just simply go ahead and print s from first index to 5th index. And why I have written 5th over here is because in Python the lower bound is always exclusive. Let me write here let's just go ahead and print this string.py. So as you can see that it has grabbed the value till white space, right? Let me see what we have next. So before going to next element, let me just play around with this string. I'll also do something like for example, if I have to grab from at least end of the string, so what can I do is I can simply go ahead and do something like this, grab from all the way from 0th index to -2, and by -2 I mean leave the last two items, last two characters, and grab everything in our string. Let's see what we get. So as you can see, it has left the last two characters and has reported me all the other characters. So similarly, if we can do something like this as well. Oh my goodness. Okay, so vim strings.py, we can do something like this as well. Print, and what am I about to film? If I have to grab only last two characters, what I can do is from 0 till end, from -2 till end, and -2 means that we are grabbing from 0 second in reverse order from second location to all the way till end. So let's see what we get. All right, so as you can see, it has given us last two characters. Okay, let's go ahead and further talk about more string operations. Another important thing in strings is string formation. Now at times we have to deal with the scenarios where we have to use some variables value, and we actually cannot immediately use that in our code, but what we do instead is we later use this, and we put it into some variable, and then we use that specific variable's value. So let me show you what I mean. For example, I have var1 is equals to 3, and if I'm to say like print value of variable 3 is so as you can see that variable of variable 3 is this thing, right? So we can use any other thing, any other variables values as well. Now there are some other types of formations as well. For example, if I'm to say like value of variable is, you can also dot format it like this way, dot format var1, and this will give us the same results, right? So variable of variable variable value of variable is 3, and we can also do it like this using placeholder notations. Print value of variable as var1. Yep, so value of variable is 3. So there are 3 ways of formatting string, and you can use expressions as well. We'll be covering that topic in our advanced string tutorial, but for now, since this is made for beginners, that's why I'm sticking to this particular area, that these are actually the formation text that we can use with strings. So let's talk about strings method now, which is actually the very important part of this entire tutorial. So let me see what methods we have. We have capitalize, we have starts with, we have ends with, we have find, and let's talk about these now. So let's just go ahead and, for example, if we have to capitalize the first index of our string, what we can do is we can simply, let me write here, print s dot. So this is my string, capitalize, and can you guess what it will do? Actually, it's going to capitalize all the, not all the characters actually, at the character which is at 0th index, right? So let me go ahead and run it, and so some string has become some string with s capital, with 0th index capital. Similarly, starts with and end with are other very important operations in our string. So let's just say that let's just say that if I have to let's just see if it works. It should return me true, right? Given 0. So this should return me what? So it has returned me true because it is starting with s. How about ends with g, because our string is ended up ending with G. And now let's run this code, and I can see that it's also true because it's ending with G. Let's see what else do we have. Find index is lower. Let's talk about this find operation. S dot find, and what I'm going to find is E. So it has reported me the index of that particular character which I was finding. So whenever you use find operation with any string, it's gonna report you the index which the character lies at, right? Let's see some other string operations. So next we have is index. So if we have to check the index of some string, let's say let's check the index of E as well. As you can see, it is reporting me 3. So basically these two operations are working same, but at times we have to use any of those. Next we have is lower and is upper. So if I'm to say like first index is equals to s at 0 dot capitalize. I just want to create a string with all the values capital, so at 0 index the s would be capital now. So let me check if this is capital or not. First index, yes, it has become capital. Now I can apply that operation just to show you that if it's going to return um, true or not, because this is the string with only one character and it is capital now, so it should return true whenever we apply that operation on that particular string. So if I apply like what, okay, so let me create some space here, and what I can do is print first index. Now this is a string with only one character and all the characters are capital, so is let me check. It's basically is upper and is lower. Okay, all right, so all right, so it's, you can see that it's returning me true because all the letters in a string, and which is actually the only a letter in a string is capital. You can also try with other strings as well. For example, let's go ahead and try some it with some other strings as well. So let me create a string, all caps, all capital letters, right? So it should report back true because all the letters in our string are capital. Yes, it's returning true. And how about is lower? Can you guess what it would be? Yes, that's right. It would be exactly the opposite of the method we just used. So if I'm saying like print all caps, let's just apply on this first string. S dot is lower. This should return us true because all the elements are lower. Yes, it has returned us true. And what about now? Let's just use a combination of the methods, right? So these are all capital letters, and we have to first convert these into lower letters using the function lower of strings, right? So all caps dot lower dot is lower. This should return as true, because what I'm doing actually, I'm converting all those capital letters to the lower ones, and then I'm checking that all the characters in my string are have become lower or not. So this should return me true. So let's just go ahead and run the code. Strings.py, yes, it's returning me true. So let's go to some other operations.